A $200,000 missile flies toward an American military base in the Persian Gulf. A $4 million Patriot interceptor launches to destroy it. The interceptor hits its target perfectly. Direct kill. The American air defense crew celebrates for exactly 3 seconds until they realize what just happened. The missile they destroyed was empty, no warhead. It was sent ahead to die on purpose. And while that $4 million interceptor was busy killing a decoy, the real warheads flying 50 feet above the ground behind it just slipped through the gap and struck the base. Iran just turned America's most expensive shield into its most expensive weakness, and the weapon that did it costs less than a new Ford F-150. My name is George, and what War Room Economics is about to break down for you right now is the single most dangerous shift in this entire conflict that almost nobody is talking about. Before we go any further, hit subscribe and tap that notification bell right now, because later in this video, I am going to show you the exact math that proves America is losing $5 for every $1 Iran spends on this missile, and why that equation alone could decide who wins this war. You do not want to miss that. Stay until the end. Like this video right now so more people can see it. Let us get into it. For 48 waves of Operation True Promise 4, Iran launched missiles that America's air defense systems were specifically designed to kill. Ballistic missiles flying high, arcing through the upper atmosphere, visible to radar from the moment they launched, trackable across hundreds of miles, and interceptable by Patriot batteries and SM-6 missiles that have been trained on exactly this kind of threat for decades. Wave after wave, the pattern repeated. Iran fires high. America shoots high. Interceptors connect. Pentagon releases a statement. News anchors report successful defense. And most people watching at home assumed that meant the system was working. Then came wave 49, and everything changed. Iran launched the Paveh cruise missile at 3 American military installations simultaneously: Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar, the United States Navy 5th Fleet headquarters in Bahrain, and Al Dhafra Air Base in the United Arab Emirates. 3 targets, 1 coordinated strike. But the weapon itself is what makes this wave fundamentally different from every single wave that came before it. The Paveh does not fly high. It flies low, extremely low. We are talking treetop level, hugging terrain, staying beneath the radar ceiling that every American air defense system in the Gulf was built to monitor. Patriot radar looks up. The Paveh stays down. That alone is a serious problem, but that is not what makes the Paveh the most dangerous missile Iran has ever fired. The Paveh missiles within a single salvo talk to each other, in flight, with no human controlling them. No ground station steering them. No operator sitting in a bunker making decisions. The missiles themselves coordinate autonomously. One missile takes the lead position at the front of the formation. The others follow behind it in a coordinated pattern. And here is where it gets terrifying. When the formation approaches an area protected by air defenses, the lead missile pushes one or more of the group forward as sacrificial decoys. Those decoys accelerate ahead deliberately. They trigger radar detection. They force interceptor launches. They absorb defensive fire. And while the defenders are burning through $4 million Patriot rounds and $4.8 million SM-6 interceptors, killing missiles that were sent forward specifically to die. The real warheads behind them fly through the corridor that the decoys just opened. This is not remote control. This is not a pilot sitting somewhere with a joystick. This is autonomous swarm coordination built into the missile's own guidance system. Once the salvo launches, it manages itself. The missiles decide among themselves which one sacrifices and which ones survive to hit the target. Iran essentially built a weapon that thinks, communicates, and makes tactical decisions faster than any human air defense operator can react. And Iran held this weapon back for 48 waves. 48 waves of ballistic missiles, hypersonic glide vehicles, cluster warheads, and drone swarms. 48 waves where the world thought it was seeing everything Iran had. And then wave 49 revealed a capability that changes the entire equation. That is not the behavior of a military throwing everything it has in desperation. That is calculated arsenal management, introducing one new system at a time, keeping the enemy guessing about what comes next. And that raises the most uncomfortable question of this entire conflict. If Iran held the Paveh in reserve for 48 waves, what else is it holding back for wave 50, 60, or 70? Now let me show you the math, because this is where War Room Economics connects what is happening on the battlefield to what is happening in your wallet. And this math is devastating. Each Paveh cruise missile costs Iran an estimated $150,000 to $200,000 to produce. Each Patriot PAC-3 interceptor that America fires to shoot it down costs approximately $4 million. Each SM-6 interceptor costs $4.8 million. When a defender fires a $4 million interceptor at a $200,000 decoy that was designed from the factory floor to be destroyed, America just lost $3.8 million in a single exchange. Multiply that across dozens of decoys fired across 49 waves of strikes, and the numbers become staggering. But it gets worse. Those interceptor magazines are not bottomless. Every Patriot battery carries a limited number of ready rounds. Every naval vessel equipped with SM-6 missiles carries a finite loadout. When Iran fires 3 consecutive salvos in a single wave, which is exactly what it did in Wave 49, it forces every air defense system in the region to stay active, burning through interceptors continuously. By the time the 3rd salvo arrives, magazines are running low. Reload takes time. And during that reload window, anything that gets through clean. Iran is not trying to overwhelm the shield in one massive attack. It is trying to exhaust it, drain the magazines, burn through the budget, and make every single interception cost America 20 times what it cost Iran to launch. Now let me show you what got through. Because the numbers Iran and the Gulf states have released tell a story that neither side wants you to fully understand. The UAE released its own accounting of this conflict. Over 1,000 Iranian weapons launched at Emirati territory alone. 755 drones intercepted. 57 made it through. 172 ballistic missiles intercepted. 1 penetrated and landed inside the country. 8 cruise missiles stopped. Those interception rates sound impressive on a press briefing slide. 95%, 97%, nearly perfect. Until you look at what the ones that got through actually hit. Bahrain's state oil company Bapco declared force majeure after its refinery caught fire from Iranian strikes. That is not a small facility. That is a national energy asset burning. Kuwait International Airport was struck by incoming munitions. Airlines suspended flights across the entire Gulf region. Explosions were reported in downtown Dubai near the Jebel Ali port zone, one of the largest commercial shipping hubs on the planet. Saudi Arabia's Sheba oil field in the Empty Quarter was hit by 9 drones on a single day. Ras Tanura, one of the biggest oil export terminals on Earth, temporarily shut down operations. 32 civilians, including children, were injured in Bahrain's Sitra district alone. 6 American service members were killed in a single drone strike at a base in Kuwait on day 1 of this war. The Pentagon's confirmed toll stands at 7 American soldiers killed and 8 seriously wounded. A 95% interception rate sounds like victory until you realize that 5% of 1,000 weapons is still 50 weapons getting through. And when those 50 weapons hit oil refineries, airports, port zones, and military bases housing American personnel, 5% is not a success story. 5% is a catastrophe distributed across 6 countries. And here is where this hits your life directly. Because the missiles that struck those oil facilities did not just create fireballs on the evening news. They created price shocks that traveled through the global economy at the speed of a wire transfer and landed directly in your bank account. Brent crude spiked to $119.50 per barrel. To put that in perspective, oil was trading around $75 to $80 before this conflict began. That is a 50% increase in the commodity that touches literally every single price in the economy. The gas you pump into your car, the diesel that powers the truck delivering your groceries, the jet fuel baked into the cost of every flight you book, the heating oil or natural gas that keeps your home warm, the petroleum-based plastics and chemicals woven into products you buy every single day without thinking about where they come from. All of it just got more expensive because Iranian missiles hit oil infrastructure that the global economy cannot function without. The International Energy Agency responded by approving a 400 million barrel release from strategic petroleum reserves. That is the single largest emergency draw in the organization's entire history. They would not do that if this was a manageable disruption. They did it because the market was on the edge of a genuine supply crisis. And here is what should terrify you about that reserve release. Those barrels do not regenerate. Once they are gone, they are gone. And if this conflict continues for another month, another 2 months, another 6 months, that strategic cushion shrinks with every passing week. The safety net gets thinner while the threat gets worse. Meanwhile, reports surfaced that Iran may have laid approximately a dozen mines in the Strait of Hormuz itself. The Pentagon said there was no clear public evidence confirming it. But the mere possibility was enough. Maersk, the largest container shipping company on Earth, suspended all crossings through the strait. War risk insurance premiums surged beyond anything the market had priced. And roughly 1/5 of the world's entire oil and gas supply normally moves through that corridor every single day. When that corridor closes, or even when the market believes it might close, the economic shockwave is immediate and global. Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi posted on social media mocking the entire American operation. 9 days into what he called Operation Epic Mistake, he pointed at the price charts and essentially told the world that Iran was winning the economic war even while absorbing daily bombardment. And the commodity markets were proving his argument in real time. Now here's the part of this story that reads like a thriller novel, except it is actually happening. On February 28th, joint American and Israeli strikes at the opening of Operation Epic Fury killed Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. 37 years as supreme leader ended in a single strike. Reports indicate roughly 40 senior Iranian officials were eliminated in the opening hours. The entire top layer of Iran's command structure decapitated in one night. By any historical standard, that should have ended Iran's ability to wage a coordinated war. It did not. 49 waves later, Iran is still firing, and the missiles are getting smarter. On March 9th, Iran's Assembly of Experts announced Mojtaba Khamenei, the dead supreme leader's son, as his successor. He is 56 years old, more hardline than his father, more deeply embedded in the Revolutionary Guard command structure. The U.S. Treasury sanctioned him back in 2019. He's accused of orchestrating the brutal crackdown on the Green Movement protests in 2009. And here is what should concern every single person watching this. No one has seen him. His first public statement on March 12th was not delivered by him. It was read by a television anchor, while a still photograph sat on the screen. No video, no audio of his voice. Israeli officials told reporters he was inside the compound that was struck on February 28th. He reportedly survived but was wounded. His current physical condition is unverified by any independent source. The most powerful man in Iran is issuing strike orders from the shadows, and nobody can confirm he is alive and functional. His statement demanded all American bases in the region close immediately. It reaffirmed the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, and it contained one line that should have made every intelligence desk in Washington stop breathing. Quote, "Studies have been conducted regarding the opening of other fronts in which the enemy has little experience and is highly vulnerable." End quote. That is not surrender language. That is escalation language from a ghost. 6 days before Wave 49, IRGC Commander Brigadier General Mousavi declared on state television that no missile would be launched carrying a warhead lighter than 1 metric ton. Then Iran launched the Paveh, a cruise missile whose warhead is conventional high explosive, well under a ton. The Paveh's value is not blast weight. It is stealth, precision, and autonomous swarm logic. So either the 1-ton rule applies only to ballistic missiles, while cruise platforms operate under entirely separate authority, or Iran is publicly announcing one doctrine while quietly executing another. Both answers point to the same conclusion. Tehran's playbook is deeper and more flexible than anything it says on camera. And that brings us to the question that should keep every strategic analyst awake at night. Iran held the Paveh back for 48 waves. It introduced hypersonic missiles in earlier rounds. It rolled out cluster warheads around Wave 26. Now cooperative swarm cruise missiles in Wave 49. Each wave reveals a new layer. What layer comes next? What system is sitting in an underground facility in Kermanshah or Semnan province right now waiting for Wave 50 or 60 or 70? Iran is still firing, 49 waves in. And the missiles now talk to each other, choose which one dies, and send the survivors through the gap. Now before you leave, I need 2 things from you. First, drop a comment below and tell me this. Do you think America's air defense can survive another 50 waves of this kind of cost drain? Or do you think Iran has already found the formula that makes the shield unsustainable? I want your honest answer. Because the discussion in this comment section is consistently sharper than what I see on any cable news panel, and your perspective makes it better. Second, share this video right now with one person who still thinks a 95% interception rate means everything is fine. Show them the math. Show them what 5% actually looks like when it hits oil refineries and airports. 10 seconds of your time could completely change how someone understands this war. This is War Room Economics. My name is George. I will see you in the next one.